Hey, it's Ohio Jimbo, and I've got some exciting things to talk about. This is really one of those things that only happens once, well, every 400 years. And we're going to experience this here in Ohio this year. On April 8th, for about an hour and a half, 2 hour window, literally from about 2 to 4:30, we're going to experience a solar eclipse. Not to be confused with a lunar eclipse, it's a solar eclipse. And that means that the sun is going to be lined up with the moon and the earth, so that the moon's going to cast a shadow on the earth. That's called a solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is when the earth passes in front of the moon and the sun shines the earth shadow on the moon, the lunar eclipse. So the solar eclipse, though, it only happens in a specific area once every 400 or so years. And to know a little bit more about that, I want to kind of explain the solar system in just a second here, so you can understand what happens and why this is such a magnificent event. So let's start with the base fundamentals. Let's start with the sun. The center of our solar system is the sun. This huge ball of light that is emitting all of the energy we need to survive is right there in the center of our solar system. And all of the planets rotate around it. Thousands of miles an hour, they're going around this beautiful sun. And as they're circling the sun, for instance, the Earth, the third planet out from the sun, it takes 365 days for it to actually go all the way around. So one time around, it takes 365 days. And what happens, each day it takes 24 hours, and the Earth itself rotates. So the Earth is rotating 24 hours it'll take it to rotate, but it's also moving around the sun. So as it rotates, it will rotate 365 times before it actually completes one full circle around the sun. Now, the Earth has a moon, and the moon is rotating around the Earth. The moon is literally rotating at a slower rate, and it's actually going every 28 days, about 700 hours it takes it to get around the Earth. So Earth spinning 24 hours, it'll do one day. The moon is going around that, and after about 28 of those days, the moon will complete its cycle around the Earth. Here's another part that really gets even more intriguing to let you know how unique this eclipse is going to be. The Earth and the moon are not specifically lined up all the time. Sometimes there's a degree, it's off of a little bit of an ellipse, if you will, of its pattern. And because it's like that, the sun shining through where the moon is, sometimes it doesn't hit the Earth. Oftentimes, because of where that cycle is, and it's going in an angle, sometimes up, sometimes down, it will cross over the Earth. And then, if the alignment happens where Earth, moon, and sun are fully aligned because they're rotating each other so many ways, that shadow that's cast from the moon on the Earth is seen in one little thin path all the way around the Earth. As the Earth's rotating and the moon's moving by, it'll show there. So you'll see this path, and the totality is a very thin line compared to the size of the moon. But the interesting thing about all this is if you understand the size of the moon and the size of the sun, don't do this, it's dangerous to look into the sky, don't ever look straight at the sun, but if you have the proper glasses, you could actually be looking at this while it's happening. But because they're so close to alignment, you're not going to really see them. But if you could put them side by side, when you look at the moon in the sky and the sun, they look like they're the same size. Here's the fascinating part. The sun is 400 times the size of the moon. To put that into perspective, if the moon were 1 inch tall, the sun would be 33 feet tall. That is an enormous, enormous size differential. But coincidentally, the moon is 400 times closer to the Earth than the sun is. So when you look in the sky, they look like they're the same size. And what happens is when the moon passes in front of the sun to our perspective from Earth, that moon will cast a shadow on the Earth. And the shadow hits the Earth. So there's only a path that you can see. And we're really lucky in Ohio because April 8th, actually about 3 p.m. specifically, the total path crosses Ohio. But from about 2 o'clock until about 4:30, we're going to have remnants of the shadow, partials and everything else. But the coolest part is And this is where it's really spectacular. A total eclipse is when that moon passes exactly in front of the sun, and then we get it blocked out, so we see that same size image of the moon blocking the same size image of the sun. And then there's this thing called the ring of fire that happens around the moon so that you can see the light, and sometimes you can actually see activity of the sun around it, wearing the safety glasses. I can't emphasize that enough. And then as it ends its cycle, it really sparkles on one side, and it actually has what's called the diamond ring. And it's a beautiful thing to see and witness, and you will only see it in your area, wherever you're standing, living, or at the point in time, once every 400 or so years. So it's a very spectacular event to have happen. And here's the other part of it. A total eclipse only happens if we were looking at Earth and we were looking at the moon going around Earth. It's not, and I'm going to exaggerate this, so we got Earth here, the moon goes in a ellipse cycle. So sometimes it's closer to the Earth, sometimes it's further away from the Earth. And when that is further away from the Earth, the moon will be smaller, and then when it's tight to the Earth, the moon's bigger. And when they're exactly the same size, they form this total eclipse, and that total eclipse is what everybody wants to witness. It's a spectacular, incredibly amazing event that happens. This celestial alignment only happens every once in a while in your area, and it'd be a great thing to see. And keep in mind that contrast that happens during the eclipse is going to last maybe 3 minutes, maybe a little bit short of that here in Ohio. It's a little bit longer, probably 4 minutes in Mexico, but it will be a little bit less here in Ohio. If you're watching it, the sun being on the other side of the moon is very, very, very bright, dangerous to look at any point in time, but the most critical time is just before and just after it crosses, because the contrast between the darkness that you're going to experience and that burst of light, it would only take seconds to do permanent damage to your eyes. So please, please, please make sure you've got the proper equipment to view this. But it's a fascinating experience, and it's going to be April 8th here in Ohio. We are so excited about it. We're looking forward to everything that can happen on that day. The celebration is going to be wall to wall for United States, because along that path, everywhere that there's the totality is going to hit, there are RV campgrounds that are already booked up if you haven't booked a spot for one of those. And the price is going to be a little bit higher too, I'm going to guarantee that. Hotels are booked left and right. State parks in Ohio are going to open up early just for this specific event. So all the parks along that path will be open for that, and it'll be a great way for you to experience it. Keep in mind, traffic is going to be crazy. And this incredible celebration is going to be on a Monday, and they're closing schools, like I said, so they're going to have the opportunity for everybody to witness this that's in the area. Make your plans early. If you've got friends that live in the path of totality, plan to get there early and maybe leave a little bit later, because all of it's going to come down to that little 1.5 to 2 hour window, and really that 3-minute experience. That is how special this is. So if you get a chance to get out and witness it, do get out and see this, because it will be a once in a lifetime, once in about 100 lifetimes, to be able to see this right where you are. If you're outside the path, you're still going to experience a partial eclipse. So you're not going to see the total, but the partial eclipse will be there again. Don't look at it, don't look directly at it. And I think you're going to understand once you start to see some of the strength of the sun. Now, if it's a cloudy day, still wear the glasses. Everybody thinks that they can get away with it because there's clouds in there. No, it's very, very dangerous for your eyes. So, but such a unique experience, you have to get out there. Go find yourself some solar viewing glasses, find the proper equipment to do it. And some people have used welding glasses and such, but I like to stay with what's scientifically safe and they've already proven is okay for your eyes. So make sure you have those. And get your campsite, get your hotel room if you can get one. Maybe find some friends and stay at their house, throw a couple lawn chairs out. Again, if it's completely cloudy, you're still going to experience the phenomenon of complete darkness in the middle of the day, because it will happen for a few minutes. And the temperature actually drops. You feel get just a little bit cooler because you're in the shade. And it is a spectacular event. So embrace it. Know that it won't be back. So take every opportunity you can to get out there. I like to promote what's in Ohio, and there's so many things to see and do in Ohio. but this is one of those things that's actually coming to us. So we get to experience it, and we're going to see it in its full glory on April 8th. So be ready from somewhere around 2 o'clock till about 4:30 to experience it. And if you can get to the path of totality, which the map will show you exactly where you need to be, then get out there and enjoy it. We're going to be bringing a lot of different things to you about Ohio, from Ohio, the contiguous states. So there's a lot of fun things to see and do, but this is one that I think is really cool. You're going to enjoy it, and I hope to see you out there. And if I don't see you out there, I'll see you in here. So it's Ohio Jimbo. Remember, subscribe. We'll try to keep you updated on some other fun things going on here in Ohio and around the area.